So today I'm going to show you how to make your own dyes from fruit and vegetable products that you can find at any grocery store or maybe even in your house. So before we start, you got to make sure that your hair is up to make sure you don't get any junk in it, and keep your hands clean because as you can tell I was already cutting up red stuff and my hands are all dyed red. And make sure you have clean surfaces, everything's ready to go. Okay, so what I have here right now is some cream of tartar, some alum, or also known as potassium aluminum sulfate, some blackberries, and some beets. Now these are all things that we're going to use at different steps to make our dyes. Okay, so we're going to focus on these two things first. And what they're called is mordant. They are essential for making your own dyes because these things are what bond the color to the fabric. This happens because the metals inside of the cream of tartar and alum bond with the fabric and then bond again with the color, making it stick, and there you go. Okay, to make the solution ready to put the fabric in, first we're going to need about 5 or 6 cups of water. You're going to want to start it off cold and then bring it to a boil. Once the water is going, you're going to want to take 25 grams or 1 2/3 tablespoon of cream of tartar and put it in. Then you're going to go with 100 grams or 6 2/3 tablespoon of alum. Now you're going to want to stir that up and then wait until for about a couple, 5-10 minutes for that to boil. Stir and stick. So once it's done, you're going to want to take your fabrics and put them into your pot and leave it sit for about an hour. Then it'll be ready for the dyes. Now while you're waiting for that, you might want to start on making the dyes themselves. While you're waiting for your fabrics to set, you're going to want to start on your dyes. First, I'm going to start off with the beets. Because I already pureed the blackberries, they should go a lot faster, so I'm going to have to let the beets sit a bit longer. But first you're going to want to get about 3 cups of water in a large pot. And then turn on the heat. Now, if you don't know what a beet looks like beforehand, this is what it looks like. It's kind of gross, not very appealing, but when you cut it up, you get this bright, bright, bright red color. So now I'm going to take my beets and I'm going to stick them in. Because the beets are still whole, it might take them a little bit longer to cook, so I'm going to let that sit for a long time. Now, because making these dyes takes a little long, I'm going to start off with the blackberry almost immediately after I start the beets. So you're going to do almost the exact same thing, about 3 cups of water, and because it's already pureed, it should go way faster. So I'm going to dump this in. And you want to make sure you stir both your dyes every so often, make sure nothing's sticking to the bottom. So by this point, this is what you should have. You should have your fabric sitting in a pot, bubbling away. Here's our blackberries. You can still see all those fibers in there even though we did puree them. And over here you can still see the full beets. Now after a while those are going to go away and become pretty much a smooth dye. Now the beets have been cooking for a while, and you can already tell how the color is changing. The one on the left is what we started with, and you can see how it's still kind of a dark red. And this one's been cooking for a while, and it's definitely losing some of its color. Now that the dyes are finished cooking, you're gonna wanna strain them one last time to get out all that excess stuff. So take your strainer and your dye. Let that sit. Now that the blackberries are strained, I'm gonna strain the beets. Bring this over. Make sure your strainer's clean and you have a clean dish. So you're going to be left with all these extra beet fibers that you can just get rid of. And if you cook them long enough, they might even be good to eat. Once you're done straining your dyes, this is what you're going to be left with. It's going to be, just a bunch of old fibers that you can get rid of. So now that I have both my blackberry and my beet dyes, I can put my pre-treated fabrics in them and let them sit for quite a few hours. And once they're done, you can pull them out, give them a little wash, and they'll be done. Make sure they're all the way in there. And all you gotta do is wait. Okay, so now our fabrics have officially been sitting in the dye for over 24 hours, so they're probably ready to be taken out. So you're gonna wanna take your finished product and dump the excess dye into a bowl. That's done. Get this out of the way. And then you're going to want to rinse all your fabrics because they're obviously still very, very wet with dye. So just get them wet, rinse it out. And you see you're left with this kind of light pink, almost yellow color. Then you're going to do it again with our blackberry. I just did the beets previously, so get rid of all this extra. You're left with just your fabric. So get this out of the way. You're going to want to rinse all the dye. And now this one's going to be a brighter pink color. The beets create more of a yellow, like almost really light pink, but the blackberries are gonna leave a really bright color. So now after all that work, we finally got our finished product. This is the beets, and this is the blackberry, and you can see after they've sat for a while, the beets is no longer as yellow, it's more of a light pink, and the blackberry has turned more of a purple. So there you go, that's how to make your own dyes.